Why is it okay for women to feel entitled to being protected and provided for, but it is wrong for men to feel entitled to sex and intimacy?
Because we live in a double standard world.
Why is male sexuality so stigmatized?
Because we live in a double standard world.
That's because there's a double standard out here. These women, unfortunately, are taking over.
I think the honest truth to this question is just because of the reputation guys have, which, I mean, isn't fair because a lot of guys aren't, like what their reputation holds up to as guys. And I don't think that's fair to, like, hold girls up to reputations as well. But, yeah, I think the reputation of, like, guys being, horny or sleeping with any women.
That's fair. I feel like if women are entitled to be provided for, that men should be entitled to have a good sex life with their woman.
Okay, why do you think male sexuality is so stigmatized?
Because the media shows a lot of what men do outside of, like, a healthy relationship and things like that. And we tend to follow the media and stuff.
If women expect men to pay for sex, why don't men expect women to pay for bodyguards?
That's a good question. I think if you can combine the two, if I'm paying a woman to have sex, then I'm also guarding her body while I'm doing it to protect us. So I should also be compensated for my activities.
Bodyguard? Why would you need a bodyguard, though?
Well, because women want men to protect them. So if women want men to protect them and men want women to provide sex, but women expect, men to pay for what they want, then why don't we expect you to pay for what you want?
Because we don't mean protect them, like, physically. We just mean, like, protect them, like, our hearts.
What do you think about the mixed messages men face that encourage him to be both strong and tough, but also open and vulnerable?
I think most guys are, like, put, if they are open and vulnerable, to either... I feel like most friends, like, understand when they actually truly, like, settle down and love someone, they're, like, open for it. But when guys start getting close with a girl, they're like, oh, you're a simp and this and that. So a lot of guys will hold back, and, like, previously a lot of people I know, even myself, have had, like, ex-boyfriends say, like, oh, you're a simp and this and that, but it's like they truly love you. So it's hard for guys, and I actually feel bad for them because they feel like they can't actually love someone without getting called a simp.
Does love have to last in order to be worthwhile?
Yes.
If everyone lived to be 1,000 years old, how likely would people never get sick of their partner?
They would get sick of their partner.
So then why should love last if people are more likely to get sick of their partner?
Well, just because you get sick of your partner doesn't mean that the love's not there.
Damn, 1,000 years old is a long time. It depends. Like, if you really, really in love with somebody, you're not going to get sick of that person. You're going to want that person around. No matter how long it takes, you're going to want that person. But you got to really, really be in love and invested with that person.
Why are men taught how to treat women, but women aren't taught how to treat men?
Because we have, I don't know.
Is that true, though?
To a certain extent, it depends on who raised you.
Somebody not raising them right. That's the problem.
How should women treat men?
Supposed to treat men like not only your equal, but as your king. Like, you want to impress your partner no matter what. You can't just, like, after 5 years into the relationship, just get comfortable and then all of a sudden it's, oh, I'm going to do whatever the fuck I want because this person here, this and that, they're not going nowhere. Nah, you got to keep impressing your spouse, man or woman.
If a man was willing to risk his marriage to be with you, would you be more flattered or offended?
Offended.
Why?
Because if you really want to be with me, then you would leave your significant other to be with me.
I would be flattered.
Why?
Because obviously he's getting something from me that he's not getting in his marriage.
If women want to be the center of a man's world and not second place to his wife, why would a man want to date a single mom and be second place to her kids?
He needs to leave the wife and be with me. I can't be second in his life.
Well, then she has to leave her kids. I'm kidding. Okay. All right, never mind.
Well, love comes in all types of different shapes and sizes. I don't think that it would be a second place. I don't think he would look at it that way.
Well, right, but I'm just saying if a man had a choice to be with a woman who has kids or doesn't, I mean, there's a term called baggage, right?
Right.
And so my point is, I mean, either way, in both relationships, you're competing with somebody else. You're not getting that partner's undivided attention.
I don't believe that men feel that they would be competing with children. I don't think that they would be. I think that it would be, baggage. I get that, but I don't look at it that way because I have a child and.
No,
and
I know. I mean, but whether or not it's valid or not, do you recognize the stigma that maybe some men have about dating a single mom, whether or not you agree with it personally?
Yes, I do.
Do women have a right to be afraid of men when 80% of all violent crime is done by men?
Nah. Reason being, a crime could be done by anybody. Even though, like you said, 80% is done by men, it could still be done by anybody. So you should be equally, not even afraid, aware of that someone can commit this crime if they wanted to.
How is that different than fearing certain races based on statistical data? In other words, why is it okay for women to be sexist but not racist?
I don't think it's different. I think it's the same. You can be objectified by any race. You can be criticized by any race. It's all the same.
No, I don't necessarily feel like women have a right to, but at the same time, they do. It's kind of mixed emotions for me. I feel like a lot of girls, like, while they're walking down a street and whatnot, definitely should feel unsafe because a man is way more, like, muscular or, like, stronger and have, like, obviously, like, a bigger reputation. And like you said, 80% of men are in the crime rate. I don't necessarily want to look at it like 80% in the crime rate. I want to look at, like, sexual harassment to women or this and that because I feel like I can't walk down like a street. Like right now I'm walking on Las Vegas Boulevard and I am a little bit suspicious with my 3 girlfriends and that sucks, being like a vulnerable girl, like just walking down in a dress. I feel like I'm being like, kind of like seen like, oh, she wants this, she wants that. So I definitely feel like, there are things and like being a girl, I feel like that and it does suck, but.
Why do so many women complain about being sexually objectified when the entire Vegas economy is built on sex?
Hypocrites.
Okay. Is it realistic to think that nobody should ever feel unsafe?
Yeah, I feel like it is because like I said, like I'm not trying to be sexist. Women have, obviously sexually harassed guys too. So everyone should feel open to it, even if you're a guy and you're the most muscular guy in the world or you're like the most like, like protected guy in the world, like celebrities, you should still feel like you should like watch your back, definitely, because you never know what's going to happen. And it's scary enough to say, but that's the world we're in today.
Are men the biggest threat to women or are men the biggest protectors of women?
I mean, both. Like, the women can walk down the street and be catcalled, and that's not okay, and that's very threatening. But also, like, you could have your husband who protects you and does things for you. So men could play either role. It depends how they act.
Aren't most cops and soldiers men?
I think so.
Aren't most cops and soldiers men?
Absolutely.
So then wouldn't men be the biggest protectors of women?
Very true.
Would you trust a female cop to stop a sexual assault?
Absolutely.
Okay, so then why are men expected to be protectors if women are just as capable of having that protector
So
role?
I keep saying this, and I think it's society, and I also think that men are taught more how to do that, and women aren't necessarily.
Has catcalling or sending unsolicited dick pics ever worked to attract a woman?
I never did that. I don't do that.
Well, why would men continue that behavior when it has such a low success rate?
It's thirsty. That's what they call it, thirsty.
Right, but I mean, it doesn't work, so I don't know why. Why do you think men continue to do that?
Because the same person that is not working for it, they not getting any anyway. So they gotta resort to whatever measures that they resort to.
Do you think that men are the biggest threat to women, or are men the biggest protectors of women?
Ooh, that's hard. I feel like men are. I mean, honestly, like if you look at it, like I would say the most threat because if you are with a guy, anything can still happen. And if you're walking down with your boyfriend, there's so many other guys around you that could hurt you if you weren't with your boyfriend. So yeah, that one guy can protect you, but can he protect you from 1,000 people with you, like or like around you? Probably not.
Well, if a woman is attacked in public and a man is attacked in public, who do you think is more likely to be rescued?
Ooh, that's hard too. I think obviously, in my opinion, I feel like it's kind of obvious. A girl is more likely to, just because she's seen as more of like, like the one to get more hurt than a guy because he can kind of protect himself more than a girl. So I would say a guy.
I mean, society has always, perceived men as the providers, as the protectors, as the kind of like solid ground to the family.
So why are women so afraid to be out in public when they're far more likely to be rescued?
I think that this is just because of, what has happened in this world today. I mean, we aren't able to protect ourselves, and if girls don't go through like self-defense classes or this and that, they're more likely to be grabbed and taken to other places where they aren't be able to be protected, especially in places that people aren't. But I say that just because if there's more likely of a chance to be a girl like in public to get saved than a guy, and there's more of like a percentage, if you looked it up, of a girl to get taken than a guy, or beat up than a guy.
Would you agree that the best means of physical protection in our society would either be owning a gun or calling the police?
This is so hard because I don't have a gun, and
Well, let me ask you this, right?
It's hard for me.
Why do you think that men are still expected to be protectors when a woman is just as capable of calling the police or firing a gun as a man?
I'm a single mom, so it's like, I definitely feel like the protector, and I feel like I can do it on my own. So if I did get married to a guy, like, I wouldn't expect that of him. I think that would be something that we would be able to, do together, both provide, protect, all of that.
It's kind of like you have to get a license too. I'm pretty sure in my state that I live in to get a gun, and you have to get like that, all that work. But guys are more likely to, just because of, in my friend groups, guys are always getting guns. Like, they're like, down for that. But we're just kind of like, the more shy ones. So I think that, girls just don't want to have to go through that. And,
What is the definition of a butch lesbian?
I have no clue.
Isn't it a woman who takes on the man's role in a lesbian relationship?
Oh, is that what it is?
That's what it is.
Okay,
yeah.
so, okay.
Okay,
Yeah.
So my question is, why are there so many women who walk around in a state of perpetual fear when women are biologically capable of being a protector?
I think if this is more of like what question I think it is, I think girls are just scared to like, come. Are you saying like girls are scared to kind of come out and be like that protector for another
What
girl?
I'm saying, if a woman is capable of having the man or protector role in a lesbian relationship,
Okay.
why can't she have the protector role in a heterosexual relationship?
Okay, yeah, for sure. Honestly, I don't know why. I feel like girls, like most girls I know, and like I'm just saying from personal experience, girls like want to feel like kind of like the submissive and like, feel like their guy actually cares about them. And that's the biggest thing, like feeling like a guy actually cares about you and like, giving you that text back or calling you first and stuff. So I think that's kind of what it is. I don't think it's necessarily being scared of it.
Is there anything in this world that is not subject to question?
No.
Why don't more people judge others by their actions and not their words?
Because your actions speak louder than words, obviously.
Why is it that in the age of social media and misinformation, people have never been more certain? Why aren't more people asking questions?
They're afraid.
There's too many answers, and there's too many biases.
There's too many surroundings too. You've got your friends that are around that are going to judge you on your answer and your qualification of what you say about that person. Everyone is judging.
Yeah.
So you're afraid.
That's so true.
Why is it that in the age of social media and misinformation, people have never been more certain?
Because social media is a lie, and people could project whatever they want to project to you on social media.
Why aren't more people asking questions?
Because they doing the same thing and making up stories on social media.
You got the illusion, the TV, social networks, their brain is being programmed to be a certain way. That the illusion is basically turning into reality.
Just more certain about, people are just stubborn in what they believe. They don't question things.
Oh, yeah,
why
that's
aren't
because of conditioning. People are conditioned, man. I learned about conditioning a long time ago, and unfortunately, and I can teach this conditioning because, when we were babies growing up, we were conditioned, always told no, 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 and never really had any positive input. So that's where people are just set in their ways. They're not open-minded. They're not teachable, and it's sad.